And start to really focus on your breath. So inhale and fill up your belly, fill up your chest. And exhale, let it all out. Focus on your breath. And the breath has this amazing response within the body. It's called the relaxation response. So quite often we're walking around in flight or fight. We never really turn that off, especially in today's world. And breathing offers us the opportunity to do that. It just kind of tells the nervous system, hey, our humans' breathing is chill. Therefore, you can take a break for a minute. We are about to journey together for the next 3 months. Many of you are not just joining the training to become a teacher, there's underlying. So just take a few moments to think about why you're here. What you have come seeking, and how you would like to show up. And so a lot of the time this comes back to something called intention. And generally what happens unconsciously is that we walk around with expectations. I expect I'm going to do this thing, and then this thing is going to happen. And what expectations definitely do is set us up for disappointment. So what I've noticed throughout my journey is to start letting go of my expectations. But what I have noticed is that my intention always shines through. It just doesn't always look like I expected it to look. Continue to breathe. And just take some time to think about what that intention is, not only for this meditation, but also for this training. So if you've got it, that's amazing. And if you're still like, either I don't know what you're talking about, or like I don't know, what can help is to think about why you're here, and then form your intention around that. So for example, I am here to find self-love. Therefore, my intention can be to show up fully for my practices and take in as much knowledge as I can. Or simply put, to find self-love. My intention is to find self-love. My intention is to know myself deeper. And in setting that intention, just notice if anything comes up for you, any kind of thoughts or ideas or feelings or sensations or visions. And stay connected to your breath. And if you have come to your intention, then just repeat it over and over and over again. And if you have not, your intention can be to come up with an intention. And then just come back to your body. So if you chose to lay down for the meditation, then please feel free to come to a seated position. And if you are seated, feel free to wiggle a little bit. It's not going to be a harsh morning practice. It's more of like a wake up and stretch kind of practice. So just come to your Sukhasana or easy cross-legged pose. And inhale and bring your arms up over your head and reach for the ceiling. And exhale, bring your left hand to the mat beside you and lean over, reach to the side. Continue to breathe. Turn your head and your chest to look up. Reach your knees to the mat. And feel the stretch up the side of your body from your hip all the way to the tips of your fingers. And if it feels good, bend a little deeper. And reach a little further. And inhale, bring both of your arms up over your head, reach up high. And exhale to the other side. Same cueing instructions, turn your head and your chest to look up. Continue to breathe, reach your knees for the mat. And feel the stretch up this side of the body. Option to bend a little deeper and reach a little further. And slowly come back through center. Inhale and reach your arms up as high as you can. And exhale your hands to heart center. And bring the soles of your feet together in front of you, pulling your heels in towards your groin. And take a hold of your big toes or your feet. And inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, fold at your hips and bring your chest closer to the floor, closer to your feet. Allow your head to hang and your shoulders to round. And just breathe. And really feeling yourself waking up your body. Waking up your spine. And stay connected to your breath. Think about those nice, long, slow, deep breaths. One more breath here. And then plant your palms on the mat in front of you and slowly push back up to seated. Bring your hands all the way back behind you, fingers pointing towards your body. Try to touch your shoulder blades back behind you, lifting your chest. And just reach your chest up for the sky. Keep your head looking forward. Remember your breath. Walk your hands forward, come back to seated, and then bring your ankles out to the side, back behind you. Bring your hands to the mat in front of you. Come up onto all fours. Plant your palms below your shoulders and your knees below your hips, and then untuck your toes and put the weight into the tops of your feet. And just notice that when you do that, it engages the lower belly, it engages the lower back. So try that, let it go and notice how the back kind of sags, and then put weight into the top of the feet and notice how it engages the core. Spread the fingers wide and then put the weight into the hands where the fingers meet the palms. And inhale, bring your belly towards the mat, look up at the ceiling. Exhale, push the ground away from you, arch your back, point the top of your head at your mat. And just continue to flow at your own pace, inhaling through cow and exhaling through cat. Really warming up and lubricating your spine. One more round. On your next breath, bring your spine to neutral. Walk your hands forward a bit. Tuck your toes under, and then lift your hips up into the air, downward facing dog. Alternate the bend in your knees or walk out your dog. Just warming up the backs of your legs. Keep spreading the fingers wide and keep putting the weight in the hands where the knuckles are. And then bend the knees and start to walk the feet up to meet the hands. Coming into a forward fold, allow your head to hang, your shoulders to round. And invite in as much of a bend in the knees as you need. Oh, breathe into the backs of your legs. These hamstrings, just feel them waking up. Feel them lengthening. So back in the day, it used to be that back pain was kind of just generalized. And it was treated in one certain way. And now, as they're discovering more and more about the body, one of the leading causes of back pain, lower back pain, is tight hamstrings. And why not? You know, the hamstrings are those three really long, tough muscles, and they can be very restricting. We don't take time to devote to just letting them lengthen and stretch. So really breathe into the backs of the legs. Allow your head to hang.
I mean, why not have a dog bark? I think it was the only noise we were missing today. And just bring your attention back to the body and start to heel toe the feet out, about as wide as your mat. Both feet facing away from each other at 45-degree angles. And then bend into your knees and bring your bum down towards the floor. So you're coming into a squat, and feel free to a yogi squat. Move from side to side, so waking up the hips. And then come to settle back in center. You have the option to bring the elbows to the inside of the knees and bring your hands together in prayer. And this can be a lot. So I understand if you're working really hard and your bum's like up higher in the air, kind of like this, then the goal is actually to sit down on the ground or a block with the knees and the feet on the floor. So your bum on the ground will be kind of like better work than your bum up here in the air. Because the goal here isn't like a workout squat. The goal here is to get into the hips. And it's really about your elimination as well. Historically, this is how everybody kind of sat, how everybody went to the bathroom. And it's still how some people kind of conduct life, but definitely not in the West. We like to sit on thrones. And what this causes is quite a bit of issues for the digestive system, for like eliminating our wastes. And not just that, but hips, range of motion in the hips. So if you want to die because you never do this, then just keep breathing. We're almost finished. And when you're ready, bring your hands back down to the mat and then lift your bum up, come back up into a forward fold. And then heel toe your feet back in until your feet are about hip distance apart. So there's a really great way to check your alignment. We talked about it in anatomy, is just to bring your two fists together on the inside of your feet. This is about hip distance. Just allow your head to hang. Your shoulders to round. And then slowly start to roll up. Allow your arms and your head to hang.
When you get to your shoulders, roll your shoulders down your spine. Your head comes up last.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
And just find yourself in Tadasana. Lift up all 10 of your toes and spread them wide. And start to feel the ground below your feet. So imagine that your feet were cars. And if your feet were cars, where would you put the tires? So inside of the big toe mound, outside of the little toe mound. Think about inner heel and outer heel. And then push into those 4 areas with your feet. And feel the quality of the ground below you. So notice its stability. Notice its strength. And I like to point it out all the time. It doesn't matter what's going on at home, what your support system is like. You always have this stable ground below you that's here to help propel you forward on your path, always. So just take a moment to close your eyes and feel that. Feel that grounding, feel that stability, feel that strength. You know, it's so interesting because the most basic spiritual practice out there is grounding, and yet it's like the least practiced. We as humans are like, oh no, screw this. I need to get up in my head and be really spiritual and shit. And the reality is, the more grounded you are, the better or the clearer you can make decisions. The stronger you feel in your life. So just take a moment to find that ground, to find that strength. And keep your toes lifted and spreading. And let's draw those qualities up into the body. So keep the toes lifted, keep the toes spread. I know this can be hard, especially if you don't practice it a lot. But you'll get used to it. It really strengthens the arches, the ankles. And feel that when your toes are lifted, that your shins and your calves are engaged. And then engage the thighs. And squeeze your bum. And pull your belly button in towards your spine and lift your chest. So just notice when you lift your chest that sometimes you want to like open up, pull the ribs in towards one another, and bring the palms to face forward. Spread the fingers wide so that you engage your arms. Bring your shoulder blades down your spine and your chin parallel to the mat, and find your mountain pose. So we also spent a lot of time on the anatomy about mountain pose, and that's because this is your foundation. What you do on your mat, you do off your mat. It's not called hanging out pose. It's called mountain pose. Can you find your strength? Can you find your groundedness? Can you find your stability? Because it's there. And from this rooted, strong position, inhale, bring your arms up over your head and reach for the sky. Exhale, fold at your hips and bring your hands all the way down to the mat in front of you. Inhale, look up halfway, plant your palms on your shins. Exhale and forward fold. Bend your knees, come down onto all fours. Take your knees out as wide as your mat and bring your big toes together. Push your hips over your heels and then walk your hands out in front of you, extended child's pose. Bring your chest down to the mat, rest your head on your mat and breathe. Find your stillness. Find your breath. The knees are open to make way, make room for the belly. So fill your belly up as much as you can, just like a balloon. And then let it all out. Allow yourself to sink deep into the pose. And just notice what's going on in your body. Take one more breath right where you are. And then bend the elbows and plant the palms below your shoulders. Slowly push back up. Bring the knees towards one another. And tuck your toes under. Sit back on your heels. Reach back. If you can, make sure all 10 of your toes are included. Sometimes the pinky toes don't even reach the ground, so they get excluded. And then sit your bum on your heels and plant your palms on your thighs. Roll your shoulders down your spine. And I always say to let pain be your guide, except in this pose. I mean, this pose is just painful. For many of you, you're about to start your day of work. And for some of you, you'll be on your feet all day. And this pose is really beneficial for your feet. This will set you up for
less tenderness in the feet. It's very supportive for many ailments caused by wearing shoes. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, bring your hands to the mat. Untuck the toes. Some people really like to hit the tops of the feet on the mat. And then keep your toes untucked and sit back on your heels. Now we're just doing the opposite, stretching the front of the ankle, the top ankles, the tops of the feet. You can stay here just like this in Thunderbolt, or you can even bring the hands back behind you and lift the knees up off the ground. Whichever feels good. Again, place your hands on your thighs, roll your shoulders down your spine, and just settle into this posture, which to me is even more uncomfortable than the one we just did. What was your intention? Can you remember that? Can you bring it into your practice? One more breath here. Bring your hands to the mat in front of you and make your way into down dog, but don't worry so much about alignment. It's just walking out the ankles. Oh, take your time. And then when you're ready, come back down onto the knees. Bring the ankles out to the side and bring your legs out in front of you. Do not look at my feet. I can see them from all the way over here. They're just like black. Bring the legs out in front of you and then walk the heels away from you a couple times. So this is actually going to replace that saying of like remove the flesh from your sits bones. It's said that can be like really aggressive, like the flesh doesn't want to go, that's why it's there. And so instead, if you can walk the heels away, then this will naturally remove what flesh wants to be removed. And bring your hands to the outside of your knees. Inhale and sit up nice and tall. And when you exhale, start to walk the hands down towards the feet. Keep the spine nice and long and take a hold of, I mean, you can keep your hands right where they are, or you can take a hold of whatever is accessible for you. That might be the knees or the shins or the ankles, maybe even the toes, maybe the feet. So whatever works for you. And then inhale, grow the spine a little bit longer or look up. And then exhale, fold even deeper, allow the head and to hang and the shoulders to round. And just feel this stretch throughout your entire body. And feel it start at the heels. Stretch all the way up the back of your leg. All the way up the spine. And when you hang your head, notice that it even comes up the neck. Just feel the stretch on the entire back side of your body. And you let go of any tension just by breathing it out. Notice how your chest comes a little bit closer to the thighs with every exhale. Gravity pulling you deeper whenever your body allows. And plant your palms on either side of your knees and then slowly push yourself back up to seated. Bend your left knee and bring the sole of the foot to the mat. Bring the heel in towards your bum. And take your left arm, hugging your left knee into your chest. Lift your chest. Ground the right leg. Flex the foot. And then switch the arms. Take the right arm, hug the left knee, and take your left hand back behind you. Kind of set up against your hips, kind of like a second spine. And inhale, sit up nice and tall. Now exhale, start to twist from the belly, looking over your left shoulder, back behind you. I like to think about looking over your shoulder and back behind you at like where you have come from. All the things you have overcome in your life. Pull your belly button in towards your spine and think about your body like you're wringing out this cloth. Wringing out all the internal organs. And then slowly come back to center. Bring in the left arm around the left knee, hugging the left knee, and lift your chest again. Nice long spine. And then bring the left leg out long and bend the right knee, bringing the right heel towards the bum. Right arm takes a hold of the right leg, sit up nice and tall. Flex the left foot. And then switch, bring the left arm around the right knee and the right hand back behind you like a second spine. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, and then exhale, start the twist at the belly. And then just notice like vertebra by vertebra twisting, and turn to look over your right shoulder. This time we're looking at where you're going. Think about your intention. And pull your belly button in towards your spine, detoxing out this side of your body. And slowly unravel. Coming back to center, replace the left arm with the right arm. Take a hold of the right knee, sit up nice and tall. And then bring your right leg out long. Plant your palms on either side of your hips. Roll your shoulders down your spine, lift your chest, sit up nice and tall. This is called staff pose or Dandasana. Flex both of your feet. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. So engage your core. The two hardest poses in yoga, according to BKS Iyengar, are Tadasana and Dandasana. And that's because they both look like you're not really doing anything. But if you're practicing appropriately, you're completely engaged. So start with your foundation again. Remember, foundation, foundation, foundation. So our foundation right now are the legs and the bum. So start with the feet. Flex the feet, pull the toes towards the shins. Notice that's kind of like Tadasana. It engages the shins and the calves. And then engage your thighs. And pull the belly button in towards the spine, sit up nice and tall, and push your hands into the ground. So some people can't quite reach the palms to the mat on either side of the hips, and that's totally okay. You can either use blocks there or you can tent the fingers. The big point here is like engaging the arms, really activating the arms. Activate the legs, activate the core. And just find that grounding, find your strength, find your stability. Know that you have it, even if sometimes you feel like you don't. And when you're ready, release and bend both of your legs, bringing the soles of your feet onto the mat. Take a hold of underneath your knees, lift your chest, and then slowly start to roll down. Keep the core engaged. Go all the way down onto the back. But take your time and keep the feet on the mat as you go. And when you get there, start to walk the heels towards your bum. Bring your arms alongside your body with your palms face down. And just lay here for a moment with your spine long and supported. This is an opportunity here. If you're carrying a lot, just offload some of that weight. Notice yourself supported here. Notice all of the parts of you touching the ground, touching the firm, the stable, the strong. But there's this really cool, magical thing about the earth. It's called gravity. Gravity is generated from the center of the earth, and basically it just like holds you to its crust. Right? It's responsible for 95% of our muscle mass. Is just us working against gravity. And it also prevents us from just like floating off into space. So remember all of the qualities of the earth: strong, stable, firm. But also invite in the idea of nourishment and support. You are supported. The earth literally has your back. Sometimes we just forget and need to be reminded. So think about your intention. Think about your own strength, your own stability. Think about your connection to the earth below you. And then bring your arms alongside your body, palms face down, roll your shoulders down your spine. Put the weight into your feet and lift your hips up into the air. Option to roll the shoulders down the spine and interlock your fingers behind your back. Come into bridge pose. And keep pulling your knees towards one another. The knees naturally kind of want to open. Keep pulling the knees towards one another. Keep squeezing the bum and keep lifting the hips. Breathe. One more breath, lifting up even higher. And then slowly start to unravel. Allow the arms to fall alongside the body, round the spine. Just bringing your back down to the mat, tailbone touches last. Come back to a neutral spine. And then hug your knees into your chest. Interlock your fingers around your shins. Then bring your forehead up to try to touch your kneecaps. Really squeezing your body around your spine. And then bring your head back down to the mat. Bring the soles of your feet up to face the ceiling and take a hold of the outer edges of your feet. Pulling your knees back down to the mat, make your way into happy baby pose. Feel free to stay stationary or roll from side to side, massaging out the lower back. Perfect. We'll add a woman on a loudspeaker trying to sell shit. You guys are getting like the full Costa Rican experience today. And then I just offer you a few moments to take whatever posture feels good for you. So if there is a posture that we did that you want to do more of, or maybe a posture we didn't do, I offer you the opportunity right now to do that. Just take a couple minutes to feel your body. To notice what your body's calling for. And then whenever you are ready, just start to make your way into your Savasana, into your final resting pose. So laying down on your back. And no rush. If you're still like feeling really good in your posture, then feel free to just take your time. And find yourself laying on your back. You push the back of your head into your mat. Roll your shoulders down your spine. Rest your hands alongside your body with your palms face up. And take all of the thoughts that you have in your head right now. Just allow them to ooze out of the crown of your head. Onto your mat and away from you. Start to relax your body. Beginning with the top of your head. Relax your forehead. And feel your eyes grow wide. Feel your eyes sink into the back of your head. Relax your cheeks. Relax your jaw. Let the tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Relax your throat, your neck. Let any tension ooze out of the tops of your shoulders. Onto your mat and away from you. Relax the muscles that run along your spine. Relax your arms and your wrists, your hands. Relax your chest. And your abdomen.
And let your hips be wide. Relax your thighs and your knees. Your shins and your calves. Your ankles and your feet. And just invite some awareness back into your breath. And start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. And turn your head from side to side. Pull your knees up into your chest, hug them in. Roll from side to side. Eventually rolling all the way over onto your right side. Use your bicep as a pillow. Take a breath. Use the strength of your left hand to push yourself all the way up to seated. Keep your eyes nice and heavy. Roll your shoulders down your spine. Rest your hands on your knees or your thighs. And take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. Get it out with a sigh. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your hands together in the center of your chest and bow your head. And thank you all so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice this morning. From my heart to yours, namaste.